Hello and welcome back to the Life Launch Podcast. I'm your host, Heather Boersma. We're also on YouTube today. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And today we are talking about how to take action. This conversation is inspired by 3 conversations I had today. One was walking home from school with one of my son's friends' parents, and then 2 of my one-on-one coaching clients. And all 3 of them were expressing this sentiment of this year, I want to take more action. I want to do less self-reflection. I want to do less reading books, and I want to do more actually putting myself out there and taking massive action. And I am all for it. I love taking action as much as the next person. I love getting shit done. I love checking things off my to-do list. But the way to take more action isn't just to do like Nike and just do it. If we don't explore the reason why we aren't taking action, we're not going to figure out how to make ourselves take more. So let me give you an example. I was meeting with a client of mine and we were talking about how she wanted to start planning out her work week. So she's like, I know I just need to take an hour on the weekend and plan out my entire week, which is what I teach my clients with a tool called the Weekly Power Hour. And she's like, I know what to do, but I'm not doing it. Have you ever felt that way? I know what to do, but I'm not doing it. Here's what I want you to know. The reason you're not doing it isn't probably what you think. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're a procrastinator. It's not because you have ADHD, even if you do. It's not because you don't know what to do next. These are all of the common excuses that we give as to why we are not taking action. The reason you're not taking action is because of a thought or a belief that you have about that action. And this is a subconscious thought many times, which means we're not aware of it. It's something that's going on and playing in the background, but it's affecting the way that we feel. And the way we feel does matter because how we feel either moves us to take action or not. And so instead of just going straight into strategy with her and saying, okay, let's do this right now. Let's sit down together and plan out your week. Let's write out your hours and write out your tasks and put the tasks in the blocks of time. The reason that that's not the best way for her to just start taking action is because it's not addressing the root cause. And the coaching that I do, I'm certified through the Life Coach School, and we do what's called causal coaching, which is we actually look at the cause of the behavior. We're not just going for better behavior. We're not just creating action plans for our clients. We are helping our clients to look at the root cause. What is the thing in your mind that is holding you back from taking action? Because if we can address that, then we can create sustainable transformation and change. So this is what I want you to think about as you're listening to this episode today, is to think about, why aren't you taking action? Because if it wasn't that you were lazy or procrastinator or have ADHD or don't know what to do next, what would it be then? And for this one client, as we were discussing why she wasn't planning, is she said to herself, I feel like I'm all over the place. That is the thought that she has about herself in her business. I'm all over the place. And one of my other clients that I was talking to said, I have the thought a lot, I'll just do it later. I'll just do it later. These thoughts, they sound harmless. They sound like they aren't, a huge problem. But to me, these thoughts for my clients are toxic. I'm all over the place and I'll do it later. Those are toxic thoughts. Why are they toxic? Because they are keeping you from having the results that you want to have. They're keeping you from taking the action you want to take. And how do I know that? It's because of how you feel when you think them. When you think the thought, I'm all over the place, you feel overwhelmed. And when you feel overwhelmed, guess what? It's really hard to make a plan. And when you're thinking the thought, I'll just do it later, you feel complacent. And when you're feeling complacent, it's really hard to take action. And so what I want to offer to you today is that your action problem isn't really an action problem, it's a belief problem. And it doesn't have to be a problem. It's just something that if you can become aware of it and see it and see what it's creating in your life and find a more powerful thought, it will become so much easier for you to take action. You won't have to be willpowering and white knuckling and beating yourself into action. Instead, you will create this well of motivation that's motivated and driven by your thoughts. And that is a sustainable way to create action. So let's talk about the kind of thoughts that are going to move you into action. Okay. I've done an episode before on creating powerful thoughts, and if you want to find that, I'll put that in the show notes. But what you want to make sure you're doing when you find powerful thoughts is finding thoughts that actually make you feel something. So I want to give you another example. So I was coaching my one client, and he had the thought, I'll just do it later. And so I said, okay, well, what would make you feel more motivated? Let's come up with another thought. And he naturally went to the opposite thought, which is, I'll just do it now. And I said, okay, well, let's explore that thought. How does that thought make you feel? I'll just do it now. And he was like, well, I don't know. Like, I guess it's a little better than I'll do it later. And I was like, yeah, it just doesn't sound like that's like really getting you excited and getting you motivated. And so we talked some more, and he came to the thought, I am the kind of guy who gets shit done. And you could see as soon as he said it, his face lit up, his shoulders went back, and there was like this energy that came into him as he thought this. He was like, oh my goodness, yes, that resonates with me, that moves me. And I said, you know what? Your homework this week isn't to get shit done. Your homework this week is to think the thought, I am the kind of guy who gets shit done. Because when you think that thought every day for 63 days, you create a new neural pathway. You create a new default setting in your brain. And you start to stir up all this emotion that is going to naturally motivate you to take the action that you want to take. So instead of focusing on the action, we're focusing on the thought that we're going to think and the belief that we're going to create that's going to basically be the root of the new behavior that we want to take. We're looking at, why do I not take the action? Instead of just trying to push ourselves, motivate ourselves to take more action. Once you understand that it's your mindset and your thoughts that are driving your feelings and motivating your action, the next item that we want to look at is your values. Your values matter so much more than your goals. And if your goals are not aligned with your values, you're going to end up living a life that you don't really want to live. You're going to get to a destination and it's not going to actually be the place you want to be. So it's really important for you to pause and ask yourself, what are my core values? And again, this is a topic that I have explored in a previous episode, but it's really asking yourself, what matters most to me? What is the kind of person that I want to be remembered as? What are the things that are going to matter most to me when I'm 70, when I'm 80, when I'm laying on my deathbed? Sounds like kind of morbid questions, but these are questions that are going to help really identify what your core values are. And for me, my core values are connection, adventure, and impact. And the reason it's important to know what these core values are before you take action is so that you don't just take a bunch of action because it's what you should be doing, because it's what other people are doing, because you read it in an article somewhere or saw it on a reel or a TikTok, that this is the right way, this is the proper way. We don't want to be taking action for the sake of taking action, because all we're going to do is use up energy. And energy is one of those limited resources that we have, energy and time, and we're going to be wasting both of those things if we're taking action just for the sake of taking action. Beyond the point of like, I just need to be busy so that I can feel busy. Maybe you're there. If you're there, let me just encourage you. Like, you are a human being, not a human doing. I know, cliche. Your value doesn't come from what you do. It's not more valuable to be productive. Getting stuff done doesn't make you a better or more valuable human, okay? Your identity and your value and your worth are secure, regardless of what you do. So hopefully that's an idea you're not totally new to, and if it is, that's totally okay. But when we just do things just to be busy, we waste our time and energy. But when we do things because they're aligned with our values, that is when we create purpose in our life. And if you want to take more action, you need to have a really clear purpose. And that purpose is going to come when you can align your action with your values. So take some time and in this season that you're in right now, wherever you're at in your business, wherever you're at with your family and your kids and your partner and your life, what are your core values in this season? Answer that question. Write them down. Pick 3 and put them somewhere where you can see them. Memorize them. Be able to tell them to anybody who asks you, what's your jam? What are you about? What floats your boat? What makes you tick? Connection, adventure, impact. Those 3 things are such guideposts in my life, and they help me decide what kind of action I'm going to take. And they also motivate me to take action on days when I don't feel like taking action. So step 1 is addressing that mindset piece, becoming aware that it's your thoughts and your beliefs that are holding you back from taking action. It's not that you're lazy or procrastinator, you don't know what to do next. Step number 2 is to identify your values in this season and use those values as a guidepost to help you align your action to your values so that you can create purpose. And step number 3 is really practical, and it's to schedule it. If you are having an action crisis, okay, and you've done these other 2 steps and you're still struggling, then taking an hour on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday is when I like to do it. I call it the weekly power hour. I sit down for 1 hour and I write down all of my tasks for the week, all of the to-dos. And I'm making sure that the to-dos that are on my list are aligned with my values, right? So for me, when I set goals like quarterly or annual goals, I make sure that the goals I'm setting are also aligned with my values so that the tasks that are on my list are actually moving me towards those goals. So we're not just putting busy work on there. We're not just putting shoulds on there. And we're not just putting things on there that other people are doing. We're putting things on there that we know are going to move us towards the goals we have that are aligned with our values. And then those tasks go into my calendar. Now, I'll be totally honest. This last 6 months has been probably the hardest 6 months of my business life for sure. It's also been very challenging in my personal life, and I have not been secretive about that. I've been pretty public sharing that it's been a challenging time, both personally and professionally. And I've fallen off the bandwagon of scheduling my week. I haven't done a weekly power hour in months, okay? And I think it's good for me to share that because a lot of my clients, when they stop doing it, they feel shame about not doing it, and then that shame keeps them from starting again. And I just want to put it out there, me, the person who's built my business off of a lot of these time management concepts and tools, has not been doing the weekly power hour. I haven't been doing it, but guess what? I also haven't been getting very much shit done because I'm not planning for it. And so the week goes by and the day goes by and you're like, where did those hours go? And so along with you, I am recommitting to the weekly power hour because I know that when I write it down and decide ahead of time, it is so much easier for me to follow through and take action. You want to know my number 1 hack to taking action other than mindset is scheduling, deciding ahead of time. Because when you decide ahead of time, you're using your prefrontal cortex, and that is the part of your brain that can actually think not just about how you want to feel in the moment, but about how you want to feel in the future, the life you want to create. That's the part of your brain that can get you to your result. When you decide in the moment, you're usually going to decide the easiest thing, the thing that requires the least amount of effort, the thing that requires the least amount of energy, and usually those aren't the tasks that make the real difference in your life and in creating the results that you want to create in your business. So if you're not already scheduling, I'm going to put the link below this podcast and below this YouTube episode for you to access my weekly power hour mini course. This is a 60-minute course with a video. Actually, maybe it's a 30-minute course. There's a 30-minute video. There's my weekly power hour journal that you can use to actually go through the process right there on paper, and it explains exactly how to do it and exactly the step-by-step process and gives you the workbook to do it in. And also, if you want more of this kind of support, I would love to encourage you to join my Double Your Business program. The Double Your Business program is for female entrepreneurs who want to grow or double their revenue in the next 6 months. And the first step of that process is learning how to master your time. And it also includes all of the stuff on how to master your mindset and how to master your business. So if you are interested in getting more tools to take action, to take more action, to take more impactful action, to take action that's going to get you not just towards some random goal, but to creating the life and business of your dreams, then these resources are available to you. And if you have any questions about any of this, you can always reach out to me. I'm on Instagram at Heather Boersma Coach. You can email me, heather@heatherboersma.com. All these resources are in the show notes. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week.